So in the Satipatthana Sutra, the Buddha explains how to develop our mind. Have you ever heard of that? Developing your mind? Yeah, this is what you should learn. You're very lucky that you came today, that you are going to learn these very simple basic steps of insight meditation. So the Buddha offers 4 foundations of mindfulness. That is called 4 foundations of mindfulness. Or you can call them 4 objects of meditation to practice. The first one is body, looking at our body, and then our feelings, and then our thoughts, and then our mental states. So I will describe them later. And we are going to practice one of those today. And then all these 4 foundations of mindfulness are connected with our life, not something outside. They are all connected and in our daily activities, right? During our sorrows, during our joys, and then words and thoughts, or moral and intellectual occupations. So it can be, so you can do this kind of meditation anywhere, anytime. You don't have to be seated in one place, but you can do it while you're walking, you're talking to someone, then you, through your thoughts and actions, and you can practice this meditation anywhere. And it will be assisting you to meet your daily tasks, and also in the end through high aims and liberation. So one can liberate through this kind of meditation as well. Okay, so now today we are going to look at how our physical body and mental factors experience, how they work together. Have you ever thought about it? Because the person called I or me, we call, that's how we call, isn't it? Now this body, and we have mental factors, like, our thoughts, feelings, and so on. So they work together, isn't it? Only the body can't work. It has to work. Physical body cannot be on its own. It has to work with other mental factors as well. So, and then it produces personal experience. So like everyone has personal experience, different to each one. And it is easier to understand, and when you understand the 5 aggregates. How many of you in your Dhamma school has learnt about the 5 aggregates? You must have. Have you done that?
In a number.
Okay, but you have done it somewhere else. What class are you in?
Until part 2.
Part 2, you should. You will be learning very soon, right? Okay, the 5 aggregates. Do you know anything about the 5 aggregates? This is all about ourselves, not anything outside us. We are just trying to figure out how this works. Okay, this being we call I or me, that roams in samsara, is classified into 5 aggregates, right? So the first one is we call rupa, that means our physical body. What's the first one? Rupa, the physical body, this body of ours, right? And the second one is feelings. Have you ever felt feelings? You always do, isn't it? So we have feelings, or we can call them sensations. So the feelings are, there are 3 kinds of feelings which are pleasant, unpleasant, and indifferent. That is neutral. Have you heard of that? See, yeah, experienced that? Okay. And then that also we call Vedana. Okay. Then the third one is perceptions. Have you heard of perceptions? That's what we all have. I will explain them in detail. Then we have mental formations and consciousness. Right? So what are the 5? Now try to remember. Physical body, feelings, perceptions, mental formations. Again, physical body, feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness. Without consciousness, we can't cognize anything. We can't see or hear or smell or taste anything. So it's not just the physical body, but there are other faculties working with us, right? Do you understand that? Okay. Now, what is perception? What do we know about perception? It is the cognition of an object. So once you have perceived that objection, that means you understand that it is a blue color, or it is whatever that you see, it gives you impressions, like a camera. It is just like a camera. You just look at it and you see it as a beautiful car or something, and whether you like someone, and these impressions are kept in our subconscious mind. Understand? So they are just in I'm just trying to tell you what comes within your meditation. Now these are the things that arise when you close your eyes. All these mental formations come to work. Okay, so we are trying to understand how this is working. Alright, so function of perception is to recognize what has been perceived in the past. So perception stores things, all the things that you see now and that has been happening in the past. So that is how you can remember some incident, maybe sometime, long time ago, and you bring that incident forward and say, such and such person said something like this and I don't like that person. It happens, isn't it? Sometimes it does. Okay. Or maybe a good thing that has happened and you remember and you want to talk about it. Now let us see our consciousness. How our consciousness turns the physical factors of experience into personal conscious experience. So what is consciousness? What have you learned? Now you are in the Dhamma school. You must be knowing about this consciousness. So what is consciousness? What does the consciousness do?
It's like the neutral feelings, the happy feelings.
Happy feelings, yeah, it's knowing.
Yeah.
This is like you cognize and you know, knowing, and remember it that way, right? Consciousness is more awareness of an object through your eyes, or smell, or hear, or taste, or touch, a tactile sense. Understand? Consciousness is that, right? And then this more awareness of a visible object. So then we will see physical elements by themselves are not enough to produce experience. So now we are going to find how this personal experience is producing through the functioning of other mental factors. Consciousness alone cannot perform that job, right? Consciousness can only cognize something. There should be an object. There's an object, and through your consciousness and the meeting of all those together provides consciousness. But it can't function any other things without the other mental, right? So then you need the aggregate of feeling, the aggregate of perception, then you need mental formations or volition to perform that activity. What is the aggregate of perception or sanya? It is the activity of recognition. What is the aggregate of consciousness? Does awareness. Remember that, right? Awareness. And perception is recognition. That way it is easy to understand. And then finally the aggregate of mental formation. Now that is a very interesting one. The mental formation is always with volition. You know what volition means? The sankhara. Volition means it conditions your reaction. What you have seen before, it conditions. Do you know what condition means? Condition means those happenings are like, because of that, this happens. And then it conditions. Right? Because you've seen that, now your mind is conditioned. Now I will tell you an example, like just to show you what mental formations are. Now, while we are walking, we see a snake, right? And we see the snake. So now tell me what your feelings and thoughts are. We see the snakes. So what has happened? As soon as you see a snake, you have feelings. What is the feeling you have? Feeling of?
Anger, feeling.
maybe anger or feeling of what? Feeling of
Fear.
fear. Very good, yes. And then, because we don't like them on our way, don't we? Because we don't like them, because we think that they are dangerous and they can bite us. And some people don't like the appearance of them or something or something. So, and then arises the feelings. And when, after the rising of the feelings, then the mental formations arise. Now what does happen next? So you have some anger, resentment, and then some person might take a stone to hit that snake, or someone might kill. Then what happens? You have created volition. That is karma. So the way you handle it creates karma. Whether it's a wholesome thing or an unwholesome. Whether you attend to a wholesome action or to an unwholesome. A person who says it might feel a bit weary and might not like it, but then that person might leave it at that. But a person who goes and hits and goes behind the snake and kills it, well, what will happen to that? There is volition and there is karma, unwholesome action. So this is how our mental faculties work. Because you had some displeasure in the appearance of the snake, right? Right. So now let us do these meditation techniques. Let's practice sitting in a comfortable position. Now you know how these mental faculties come, arise and go. Now when you watch your mind, when you are sitting down and focusing on your mind, now as now you will be watching what comes in your mind. And everything that comes, you watch them with bare attention. So you are just noting them, but you are not labeling them. Remember the labeling? When you label them, you say it is good. You are just noting it, just watching. And you are not going to decide anything, but let them come and go. See whether they are long. Are they long? Or just watch them, whether how many of them come. Right? So just watching, and then I'm sure you will gain concentration through that meditation. And we will talk about it once we have finished. So you cross your legs, keep your hands in your lap, and try to concentrate well, keeping your eyes closed. We are going to watch what is coming to our mind. Just watching the thoughts. And no labeling. Everything that comes forward, just watch them, how long they sustain, and how often they arrive. That's all you need to do. Without any discrimination, you watch them. Try and concentrate on what you are seeing. Every mental state has a birth, a growth, and a decay. See the growth, see the birth, and the decay. See how it comes and goes without any labeling. Watch your mind and watch every thought that coming to your mind. Watch them really well until they pass away. If you hear something, you might see a picture of that. So keep listening to it. Keep listening to it until it fades away. If you smell something, you can still focus on that smell and keep watching that smell. You might see a picture somewhere of that particular thing. Just keep watching and you will understand how your mental states and how your mental formations work together with your physical body. Try to understand how this physical body and your mental formations work together. When you hear the crow, you might see a crow somewhere in your mind. Just keep watching. Just keep watching until it vanishes or disappears. Okay, now you can come out of that. And then, shall we focus on the breathing now for a moment? For 5 minutes, we will focus on breathing in, breathing out, and we will see when these thoughts arise, how we can face them so that we don't get carried away by those thoughts, so that we try and watch them, and then we just let them pass away without any